have a conversation, we have a sit down with the Minerals Commission where we delve into issues, and the outfit generally tries to explain the things that we don't know and the technical issues. The CEO of the Minerals Commission, Mr. Ayisi, and I believe he's on Twitter, very active on Twitter too. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So welcome to With Our Time with the Minerals Commission, and we'll have a recap of what we had last week, or the conversation we had last week. But on Monday, the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, he commissioned something that had to do with mercury-free to the ordinary person who doesn't understand what happened and what exactly whatever plans were commissioned. Shed more light on it for us. What happened on Monday?
Good morning, and it's a pleasure to be here again. Yes, I keep telling you, for us at Minerals Commission and the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, it's not about plans are far advanced. No. Let me take you back a little. Last year, following the directive of the President, my minister organized a national dialogue on small-scale mining somewhere in April. And then we did it regionally. And some of the things that came out was that, look, apart from getting a place for the small-scale miners to work, they needed equipment, machinery, some kind of technical support to be able to do their work.
Right.
Because you see, if you give them it's like giving a soldier a gun without a bullet. If you give them a place to work and you don't give them the equipment, the Chinese will fill the vacuum. I'm sorry. These foreigners who come in and bring equipment to support them, they will just fill the vacuum. So what happened Monday was actually a game changer.
Right.
That machine essentially is to support the small-scale miners, those who are licensed properly. So those who have been given license in a designated area, we give it to them to actually work and pay, because it's not something they can just buy outright. What is it supposed to do? It's supposed to crush the rock, mill, concentrate, and produce the gold. So we move them back to our warehouse, and we're overwhelmed by the list we got.
Right.
We intend to procure more and give it to them. So eventually, two things will not only be to support the small-scale miners to work responsibly, which is a slogan, work responsibly, but they'll recover more beyond the 40% or so mercury give them. And above all, we'll be honoring our commitment to the Minamata Convention, which says do away with mercury. So it's lovely. We are really walking the talk. And that's a sign of great things to come for the small-scale miners. That is it. So that's what the President wonderfully did for us. Right. We are on course. We are on track.
Okay. So Mr. Ayisi's words, he is walking his talk. Okay. Mr. Ayisi, now let's by way of recap, what's the main purpose or rationale for the publication of this 4th edition of the procurement list?
Thank you very much. The last time, there is this view across board that we've been mining for ages, or if you like, over a century, and mining has not benefited us. So we think that, look, we need to look beyond the traditional rents we get from mining. That is royalties, dividends, and corporate taxes. So that we really see the impact of mining across board. So one way to do it is to actually enhance and deepen local content.
Right.
So primarily, this law is supposed to do, one, create jobs. And we want to use local expertise. We want to rely on goods and services produced locally, so that by and large, these things are not brought from outside. Two, we also need to increase the capability of our local businesses and make them internationally very competitive. If we are saying that Ghana should become a hub of mining in Africa, that means that people should be able to reach the rest of Africa from here. For example, many of the explosive companies, they supply Burkina, Mali, Guinea, Ivory Coast. Do you understand? So we will need to create, of course, an environment for businesses to thrive. But the most important thing is that, again, mining over the years is seen as some kind of an enclave economy.
Right.
It needs to be linked to the rest of the economy. So we need mining to support manufacturing. If you recall, I mentioned a company somewhere in Shama in Western region, which has employed 3,500 people. They produce ceramics. And they rely on about 5 minerals. That's the kind of thing we want to do. Add value to iron ore, add value to, what do you call it, bauxite. But to be able to do that, you need some kind of framework Okay, so essentially this law is supposed to give us that framework. Of course, we need to also monitor them, and then they also need to prepare their plans.
Right.
So by and large, if we are able to enforce this law very well, we think mining can contribute significantly to broad-based economic development. That is the goal. Ultimately, that is the goal.
Right. Nice. Now, Mr. Ayisi, what are the requirements that determine the items that qualify to be on the list?
Okay.
What do people have to look out for?
Let's start this way. Typically, the mining companies use all kinds of products, okay, or they procure all kinds of services. We know. And what we normally do is this. By way of research and by the way of the reports we get all the time from them, we get to know that, look, the following items or the following activities, okay, typically is what goes into whatever they do at the mine site. And then we ask ourselves, can these things be done in Ghana? If the answer is yes, then we say, okay, in preparing your procurement plans,
right,
have recourse to this. We want to see, tell us, okay, this particular one, you spend X amount of money, you want to procure so much from Ghana, etc. We do all these things and then we generate the list. Now, beyond just mere generation, what we also settle on finally is to convince ourselves that, oh, for these items, we think that we have enough capacity by way of, the standards, the quality, and even the companies that produce them. So we don't want you to import. We want you to, get them locally. So the law says that come out with a list and then publish it and then tell everybody. So basically that is the essence of this new list, which we've increased from 29 to 41.
Right. Bringing me to my next question. Why has it increased? What led to other items being added to the list?
Well, the increment or the increase is premised on two things. One, the fact that over the years we have realized that we have the capacity now to do certain things. So you realize that some items are entirely new. And then some too, we've also realized that I think we can now entirely procure these services or this particular item from the businesses that operate in Ghana. A few, the capacity is still a bit of a problem, but at least based on the market and the research, we can say maybe 30 or 40% can also be procured locally. So these are some of the things that go into what we call it, determining what should be added to the list. And then you're supposed to prepare your plans based on the list. So at the end of the day, if you tell me that, look, this particular item I'm going to procure 80%, we will have to monitor to ensure that you indeed procure the 80. If it's 79, trouble.
Right.
Other than that, you have to come back to the Minerals Commission, the course of the day, and say, look, I'm having some challenges. This person disappointed me, maybe force majeure or something, and for that matter, I'll not be able to do the 80. Then we are aware. But when you wait at the end of the year, you file the report, and then we discover that, look, this particular item you're supposed to procure 60 and you procure 10 or 40%, we'll have to ask you why, and typically it may come with a fine. We are not obsessed in fining them. We normally work together, but you are the one who convinced yourself that you could get 80%, you could get 100% from Ghana, or procure this locally.
Right.
Why did you buy 40 when your list is showing 80? So these are some of the things that we discuss with the companies, and I think by and large it's working very well.
Okay, so Mr. Ayisi, apart from the ones that we have has been added to the list, were there some that were taken off the list too?
No, hardly. We hardly take anything off the list. Typically, three things normally happen every year. Either we'll add something new, or we'll preserve some areas which hitherto is open, let's say for Ghanaians, or we'll say maybe a certain percentage for Ghanaians. So I'll give you an example. If you take drilling, we are saying when it comes to underground, it requires a lot of money, it requires technology. We don't have that. We are not there yet. But in order not to leave Ghanaians behind, we are saying at least make sure that if you are procuring the services of a company to carry out drilling underground, 30% minimum should be done by a Ghanaian company. So you can do a JV or enter into what kind of arrangement. What I need to be convinced of, or the Minerals Commission, is that at least 30% is preserved. So that is a typical example. We don't take anything off the list. And then drilling for surface operation, we are saying it should be done by Ghanaians. That's when we have capacity. They are all over the place. They are plying their trade very well. And we've never got any negative comments from the mining companies. The same thing applies to contract mining. If it's for surface operations or what we call open pit, Ghanaians. Underground, technology, more money, etc. So for now, it's the same 30%. So that's what I'm trying to explain. Depending on the capacity and what we have as a nation. And we know that per research and what the companies are doing, we will say this is a no-go area for a foreign entity, but this area we welcome a JV, and this is the percentage.
Right. Okay. So which persons are expected to comply with this publication? Which persons? 3
categories of persons are supposed to comply with this law. 1, anybody who has been given a mineral right or some form of authority or approval or authorization to explore or mine a mineral. Typically, when you are given a license or an agreement, you do either of the two things. You're given a license to just look for the mineral. For the ordinary Ghanaian to understand what we call prospecting or exploration. In our current language, you say, "Oh, yeah, check. I can look at gemelo." That is exploration. Or when you do that for some number of years and you find something, and then you now apply to get some kind of authorization to extract the mineral, that is a mining lease. But even when you are given a mining lease, you still need to keep exploring. That's how you extend the life of the mine. So that's the first category. Those who have been given a license or a permit to explore or mine a mineral.
Right.
Now the second category are those who provide support services. That one, you have not applied to explore or mine a mineral, but you have simply saying that, look, I want to go and do contract mining for the company.
Right.
I want to go and provide lubricants, fuel. I want to, get some registration done for me to supply a certain items. That's why we call them support services. So, for example, you can walk in there and then say, look, I want to be a contract miner so that I can drill, blast, and haul the rock to the mill or so for the company. Right? That's the support services. Or even security. Security. We will talk about some of the figures and some of the areas where it's quite exciting. So that's the second category. The third one is those who apply to deal in a mineral. I'll give you 2 examples. Maybe you want to build a refinery, okay? Or let's say a process tailings, the waste that has been left by the small-scale miners. You want to have some setup or some kind of plant to do that. Or those who even buy gold and export. So these are the areas where they apply. But for now, we are focusing particularly on the large-scale mines who are producing. That is how it works.
Right. Okay, so there are some parts that, Mr. Ayisi, I would like us to talk more on. For instance, number 7, general lubricants.
Yes, lubricants. There are all kinds of machinery or equipment at the mines that they use lubricants, and fuel. So 2019 or until 2019 or let's say this year, lubricants and fuel was just on the list. You normally say strictly incorporated in Ghana. What it simply means is that anybody from Afghanistan to Zimbabwe can come in, register a company and say, I want to supply lubricants to any mining company or supply fuel.
Right. 2019,
we said now it's for Ghanaians. Look at the figure, look at the data, $300 million, nearly $300 million was supplied, was procured fuel by the mining companies 2019. Now, for Ghanaians, the money stays here. It doesn't go outside. That's what we mean. Now, lubricants was added to the list this year. So what it simply means is that the likes of Total, Vivo, Engie and Co. cannot supply lubricants to the mining company. Because these are foreign. Yes, it has to be done by a Ghanaian company. Now, in 2019, about $17.5 million was spent on lubricants. Then the figure shot up by 1 million to about 18.5. I keep saying more mines are coming up, existing ones are expanding, etc. So very soon we'll cross the 20 million threshold. Again, this money will stay here. So I'm telling 30 million Ghanaians that effective as we speak, fuel and lubricants, which is over $300 million, as at the last 2 years' data, must be done solely by Ghanaians. We will not allow foreign companies to do that. The money stays here. That is the kind of thing we are talking about.
Number 22.
Number 22, insurance.
Reinsurance services.
Yes. Again, this also, until last year, was just on the list. So it means that any insurance company can set up, once you are properly registered by the regulator, which is the National Insurance Commission, you can go and then get what do you call it, insurance services from the mining companies. This year, what we are saying is that a minimum of 20% should be reserved for Ghanaian companies. So what did we do? I'm not a regulator. So we wrote to the National Insurance Commission. They gave us the names. We've sent the names to all the mining companies. And every property, every asset at every mine site is supposed to be insured by law. So look at a site like Newmont, Anglo Gold Ashanti, Goldfish, etc. That's a lot of money. 2019, $12 million was spent on insurance. $12 million. Again, the figure is likely to go up because new operations are coming up. They are expanding. They are procuring more equipment. And because every asset has to be insured, you need to pay for these things. So I'm expecting that the $12 million or so will go up. And I'm saying at least 20% of that minimum should be placed with insurance companies whose directors and shareholders are Ghanaians. That's the only way we can what? Improve their international competitiveness, boost their capabilities, etc. So by doing all these things, we will be connecting money properly, so-called, to the rest of the economy. The same applies to the financial services, which is the big ticket. Financial services. Financial service. Again, 20%. As of last year, it was just on the list. So the companies in preparing their plan will say, look, we may do X, Y, Z. But now we are also saying that 20% of your financial transactions should be done with the banks that are 100% owned by Ghanaians. We've gotten the list from Bank of Ghana. There are about 9 in all. So I can mention a few. National Investment Bank, Agri Development Bank. These are Ghanaian owned, you know, and then Car Bank, etc. And even CBG. 20% reserved for them. So look at this rough mathematics. So if a company is producing, let's say, 400,000 ounces, granted the price of gold stays at the current 1,800, that's about 720 million. So 20% of that, a little over 100 million. And we are saying it should go to any of these 9 local banks. And it's so important for us. So we are looking beyond taxes, dividends, and then the so-called, royalties that traditionally we've been receiving. We intend to deepen this as the years go by. Okay. Number 21 is... 21.
That's legal services.
21 legal services. Yes. Here we're saying that...
It's exclusively Ghanaian.
Exclusively Ghanaian, because we discovered some time ago that some of the companies will bring in... in the first place, I happen to be a lawyer myself. You can't practice law in Ghana unless you are called to the bar in Ghana. It doesn't matter whether you are trained in Oxford, called to the bar, you still have to come here. And then we discovered in one of the checks that some of these people come as expatriates and then they will say regulatory compliance. And then he might be in a company and then he will be doing legal work. So we got alarmed and then we insisted that under no circumstance should you ever that happen. So if it's legal services, you procure the services of Ghanaian law firms or an individual lawyer to do your work for you, either contracts or even if a company is sued. That is that. And then the figure is also going up very well. A lot of lawyers now are interested in natural resources law. So that is that on legal services. Yes.
And then security services.
Security, again, was open to everyone. And then we put it on the list. 2019, about $16.5 million was spent by the mining companies for security. So they have to protect the mine site, particularly when it comes to precious minerals like gold like this. You need to have this your private security all over the place. And the figure again will go up because the mines are expanding. It's now done by Ghanaians. So we don't allow any foreign entity to come and set up here and say, I want to provide security services to any mining company. That is also preserved totally for Ghanaians.
For Ghanaians. And then contract mining.
Contract mining.
Surface operations.
All right, contract mining, there are two aspects of it.
Contract mining is...
Contract mining...
Surface operations, number 24.
Number 24. If you look at the list, you have contract 24 and 25.
Yes.
It's broken into two.
So 24 is mining surface operations, and 25 is mining underground operations.
Yes, mining, basically you either do it on the surface, what they call open pits, but surface operations.
Okay.
Or you go underground, like Obuasi, like Chirano. These are underground operations. Some are open pits. We are saying that effective this year, when it comes to the surface operations, it has to be done by Ghanaian companies. Again, 2019, almost about $800 million was spent on contract mining. The figure is heading to $1 billion. It will go over $1 billion. Again, let me repeat, this is more than royalties. It's more than taxes that we take. That one goes directly to government. So if contract mining, out of the 41 items on the list, contract mining alone, if that is a little over $1 billion, and the figure can go up, and I'm saying most of the surface operations will go to Ghanaians. Again, to repeat my popular slogan of saying the money stays here
in Ghana.
So as of this year, it will not go out. Underground technology, because some of the mines are very deep, over 1,000 meters deep. So it's quite capital intensive. You need modern technology. We are not there yet. But even that one, some Ghanaians have taken up the challenge. Just like they took up the challenge a few years ago to go into drilling, and now it's for them. So you take Obuasi mine underground. It's a JV, 50-50 between a Ghanaian and a foreign entity. Beautiful, so nice. We expect to see more of that. So in the years to come, we now can say that, look, when it comes to even contract mining, Ghanaians will do it. Now, if we continue these things and we monitor them and we deepen it and enhance them properly, then we can now say that, look, we are now seeing the real benefits of mining. Real benefits. So that is that on contract mining.
Right, okay. Now, you've mentioned lots of figures and the money that's going to stay here in Ghana. In a nutshell, in a sound bite, what would be the overall benefits of these regulations and modifications to our economy? Overall
benefit. Ghanaians want to see mining contributing to broad-based economic development.
Simple.
So Ghanaians want to see beyond the taxes, beyond the royalties, and beyond the the other rents also that government gets. We want to see that, look, Takwa, Bibiani, Obuasi, and Co., you can really feel and see the impact of mining. That companies, you see a company that has set up, let's say in Takwa, or let's say Bibiani or Chirano, those mining areas, and then they are manufacturing various products or items that the mines are using, and they are employing thousands of people, and they themselves are also paying taxes. That is what we want to see. So mining should be able to contribute to broad-based development. And please, maybe before I go, we are not looking at just exploration or mining per se, the traditional mining or exploration that we know of. We are looking at the entire value chain. So exploration, there should be local content there and local participation. We're looking at mining properly, so-called, that's the extraction itself. We're looking at smelting, refining. Those are the downstream activities. So it is the entire chain that we want to see all those things. One more thing. We are also saying that, or the law says that, companies must also list on the stock exchange. Yes, they must also list on the stock exchange. So very soon they will be doing that, and the likes of you can go and buy shares. So at least 20% they must list. Now we will increase the market capitalization of the stock exchange. And then, look, you go to South Africa and go to Ashanti, which has two big mines here. They don't have any mines in South Africa, but they are listed on Joburg Stock Exchange. Companies are listed on London Stock Exchange. They are listed on what do you call it, PEF. For now, there's only one company, Anglo Gold. We want practically all of them to list. So, in the course of the discussion, I may come with the Ghana Stock Exchange and the Security and Exchange Commission for us to discuss how they can list. But before we sign off, Friday is a wonderful day for all of us. Friday, we are not talking about mining. We eat and eat, drink mining every day. Friday is Green Ghana Day. Green Ghana Day. So go for your seedlings and all over this place, GBC, start planting. When I come next week, I'll check. Myself, I'm also going to plant in my village.
We have been planting.
Yes, so let's go planting on Friday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Ayisi. Thank you. And so, yeah, Friday is Green Ghana Day, and yes, go out, start looking for the seedlings now. So this has been our time with the Minerals Commission, and we've had none other than the CEO himself to shed more light on the procurement list and what we should know all about the list. We're going to see them again next weekend on the Time with the Minerals Commission, but you're going to be